And we are live on Facebook at our new location at the Burlington area, or Burlington, Wisconsin area shop local page. By the way, I put out a message out on this group page or group site, whatever you want to call it,
Yep.
last week that we are looking to change the name. We are a focus on small businesses in the, we'll call it southeastern Wisconsin area, but Burlington works kind of, I think Burlington's kind of central to southeastern Wisconsin.
Yeah, you know
Depending on
what?
what
If I
you
look at it
call.
on the map, I'd say so.
Yeah, so
Go
Burlington,
with it.
Wisconsin area makes sense. We're central to the southeast. Yeah, that works. Anyway,
Yeah.
my name is Brad Brewer. I'm with Coldwell Banker on the Eagle Homes team, and I'm here with.
Vince Devall, also with Coldwell Banker and part of the Eagle Homes team.
And this week we've got a number of topics to jam into our lovely little 30 minutes-ish podcast. We're
Yeah.
going to start with, we're growing.
Yeah, I love it, man. Just last week, we added 2 team members. Uh, two, potentially 3,
We have
potentially
two,
4.
we
We'll see
added
what
two for
happens.
sure officially.
Yeah, yep.
We did add one at the beginning of the year. What up,
Yes.
Timmy?
Yep.
So that's basically more than doubling our agent size.
Yeah.
We are a, how many we have now?
6.
4 teams. I just ordered a sweatshirt, but I just missed out. Anyway,
Squirrel.
a little distraction.
Yeah, so we added 2. So started the year with Tim Wright as a new team member on our team. We just recently added Candace Black and Randy Wesley. So I know next week Candace is going to jump on the podcast with you because I'm going to be out of town. So
first 97 vacations he'll take this year.
probably not. I'm hoping so.
But they're
But
really camping trips mostly. But this one is an actual nice trip with the family to see more family.
yeah, going down to Gulf Shores. But yeah, so we added Candace Black, very experienced agent, licensed in both Illinois and Wisconsin. So we're excited to have her on our team and her drive and motivation and just eagerness to help her clients. So awesome.
Yes.
You know, it's going to be an awesome addition to the team.
Yep.
And then
Randy Wesley.
Yeah.
Randy's historically has been very productive in the, I'd say, southern Milwaukee, and he can correct all this if when he's on in the future. Southern Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, kind of east.
Yep.
East to the I.
He'll travel anywhere.
He'll travel anywhere.
He said he doesn't care. He'll travel.
Randy, the most laid back, chill agent you'll ever meet. I think
awesome.
he's really good with his clients, I think, because of his calm. Randy's a nice, really calm demeanor about him.
Yeah.
That he'll educate you if you're the client that needs a lot of education, but he does it with just such ease and you know, he won't make you nervous. I'll just say that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And he loves investment properties. So if you're an investor or looking at just getting into it, the guy has taken off his business in the last couple of years on the investment side. So kudos to him on making that happen.
Yes.
Also want to throw a plug in there. Once again, we're at Loop Commons.
Yes.
Today we're at Loop Commons, some delicious coffee. Along with, they have some shared space.
That sign behind it.
Yeah, right there. There it goes. We're in their Loop studio, but they have some shared space, some also off like conference room space, this podcast studio, and photography along with the rock climbing wall. So support local guys.
Yes. So something to add on that we talked about last week, since we've moved over to this shop local pages, we want to help promote. You guys are doing an amazing job. Many of you putting out your specials as far as the restaurants and bars and stuff like that. Your retailers, I see stuff. So all small businesses, whatever services you provide, it's a great website. I changed some things. You should be able to now join not only personally, but as your
business
page. I didn't know that was turned off. Sorry. It's been that way since day one, but you can now, I know, little plug out here for, Napoli's and Bubba's Brickyard both are, I know, are big posters. I think Colony House is too. So I don't know if you've been able to join as Napoli's. If you haven't, you can, as well as Bubba's Brickyard. So a couple changes there. We'll continue to make changes, again, looking for a name change. But if you want to be on our podcast, promote your business, you can come to the studio. You can join us via Zoom. We'll also come on location to your place of business, and that way you can kind of physically show a little bit about yourself and your business.
Awesome. The little plug I'm gonna throw out there is we have a team event tonight that some of our agents are going to be at, but we're meeting with Amanda Seifert from Provisor. She's actually, I don't know if you can see the logo on the cup right there. There we go. Yeah, so she's going to be meeting with us tonight to talk about some of her products, new products that she has coming up or are out there. So excited to share that with our clients starting Tuesday, Wednesday this week. But that leads us right into subject number one. Tips and tricks for buying a house today. I guess the first one is, gosh, it seems so obvious because I'm leading right with it. Get pre-approved. You know,
Nice segue from the lender comment.
yeah, yeah, it was.
Amanda, might get some calls.
Yeah. We'll throw Amanda's information into the Zoom or the link in a few minutes here after we're done going live. But yeah, so get pre-approved. If you don't think you qualify, and one lender, and I'm just going to use a bank, for example, they tell you, no, sorry, your credit sucks. Talk to other people. Talk to, brokers, multi-solution mortgage advisors out there because they all have different programs, so it's
things can vary. From interest rates to your closing fees, processing fees,
down payments,
being able to buy your rate down, not buy your rate down if you want to pay more. And the one thing I'll say about Amanda, and there's a few other lenders, obviously, because this is one of the things we strive for, is the lenders we work with, I give all of them kudos on how their client services are.
Right.
They stay in touch. They keep you informed through the process. We try to help with that as much as we can. But at the end of the day, the lenders, it's really important that they stay in contact with you and keep you informed and answer your questions that will pop up along the way. Like, why do you need a blood sample? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's a mortgage joke.
The one thing I will tell you too. So let's say you are buying a house with your girlfriend and girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it might be, and you are looking to propose to them. You might want to send your lender a one-off, email, phone call, and say, "Hey, this ring might pop up on my credit report. Please don't spoil it before I propose," because I had a client that actually happened to.
I remember that.
Earlier this year, she turned her computer around and said, "So here's what's showing up on your credit." And one of them was like Zales Diamonds or Herzings or, whatever the jewelry stores are nowadays. But she's like, crud. Luckily, they picked the ring out together. So it wasn't a big surprise, but hey, that's one thing you may want to warn your.
I can't remember. It might have actually been Amanda, and if maybe it wasn't, but I remember another lender telling me that story. But they caught it before they kind of turned the screen, and so they kind of hit it. And I think it was Amanda.
It was. She played it off. Yep.
She saw the look on the guy's face,
the buyer's
face, the gentleman buyer's face, and she's like, ooh, she did a good job. She caught it, which is good.
So. Amanda was not the lender that almost spoiled it for my other clients. So I just want to throw that plug out there that it wasn't, they weren't one in the same situation. So yeah, so get pre-approved and be open and transparent with your lender because let me tell you, they are going to dig deep. They're going to dig deeper. I mean, not as far as a blood sample or a urine test, but they are going to dig deep.
I was just kidding on that. No one's ever actually, that I'm aware of, asked a buyer for a blood sample.
Yeah.
I like to be funny.
All right. What else we got for tips and tricks?
Home search.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go straight to what I think is the coolest home search tool that we've ever had.
Yep. I agree.
And because of its interactiveness, we use and it's an app too, by the way. So I'll call it an app. Real Scout. It syncs up with MLS. So you're getting the latest of MLS feeds. Depending on what type of buyer, we've got some buyers out there like, hey, I don't need these notifications ASAP. ASAP is when, as soon as any agent puts a listing in MLS, doesn't have to be just ours, it's anybody's.
Right.
You get a ding notification through the app and email, whatever we have set up there. And then, so you can see them right away. Some of our buyers like, hey, I don't need to know that quick. Based on their type of search, their timeline, whatever. So we've got daily, weekly, I think you can even set monthly.
Yeah.
For those that are kind of future.
Yep.
based, like
They're just
it's
kind of
not
starting the browse.
because it's not too early. If you're 6 months at plus out,
You should be having a
yeah,
conversation.
and you can set up your own search. You can call us and say, hey, could you set this up for me? And just give us your criteria and we'll set it up. But
Yep.
then what I like it does is one on the, I'll just keep on the communication standard and then
Oh,
both
okay.
thumbs up,
All right, all right.
is you can message us right. I said a client literally before I hopped on here, new house popped up. They want to go see it. And we're just kind of coordinate time and stuff like that. Super simple, super easy. I'm getting notifications. So the communication with us as your agents works really, really well.
Yep.
Then the thumbs up, thumbs down. So you can different features of the property, exterior, interior, different things. You can give it a certain property. Yes, I like it, or no, I don't. And then when it sends you properties that are in your
Search.
search criteria in the future, it'll start saying, hey, this one, ding ding, this one has things you like based on your thumbs up and thumbs down. And oh, it also has, by the way, a couple things you don't like.
Right.
So it really kind of learns.
It
So
does.
there's a little bit of, I guess I call it artificial
Yeah,
intelligence.
a little AI technology behind it.
Yeah,
And so yeah, it's a great tool that we as agents get to see what you're looking at, how active you are, how many times you looked at it. Like heck, if we saw you looked at this property 5 times, it's going to entice us to go ahead and maybe pull a little more history on it, maybe kind of do a quick little CMA and say, hey, Mr. Buyer, I noticed you looked at this property 5 times. Here are some comps in the area. It's priced very well, or it's overpriced, or based on the condition, maybe we should go look at it, whatever it might be. But it allows us to be very, very on top of mind for you and make sure we're supporting you as best as possible. So yeah, so we got get pre-approved, start your home search. The other, one of the biggest tips I think out there is we got to look past cosmetics at times, especially in today's market. If you're a first time home buyer and you walk in and gosh, this you can't see it in the Zoom right now. This wall behind me looks like a grayish green, maybe, but it's actually like a blue. It's got a little bit of a blue tint to it. You got to look past cosmetics. I mean, because some of those things you can easily fix. So let's focus on the bigger issues such as, roof, mechanical, layout. Does the layout work for you?
yeah,
That is
absolutely.
that is huge. So make sure you understand what those things are and what they look like, because the it makes searching for a home a little bit easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I'd say the next steps to getting pre-approved or making sure you understand your budget financing. The search is usually the next most, that's the most
Yeah,
important.
yep.
I mean, so the Real Scout, and then with our team now growing and stuff like that, we've got us, we've got our operations director, Andrea. You've got multiple people now kind of keeping an eye on things for you. We back each other up so that, we hopefully never miss anything,
Right.
you know,
Right.
because, homes do just, they come in, they come out, especially certain price points. I'd say under 300,000, definitely
Yeah.
under 250,000, super competitive.
I'd say right at 300 right now. I mean, a
Yeah.
couple of years ago, we are probably looking at the
Yeah.
250s as competitive. Now we're up to
Yeah.
300s.
So all super competitive areas. So, you know, the communication is critical and we get, super bogged down and busy this time of year as the market gets busier
Yeah.
and busier. So our technology has really enabled us to, help. Our technology, I would say it helps us
Yeah.
stay in communication with you because like, normally if the client somebody would have sent me an email, or potentially even a text,
Right.
I might not have seen it right away, but the app dings me. It tells me like, hey, someone's needs something from you. And
Yeah.
it's a show.
I think another really great tip thing right now in today's market is you got to be prepared for those costs, right? A lot of people are like, oh, let's go buy a house. Let's do this. Yeah, awesome. Got pre-approved. But no one really goes over with you like, hey, you're going to need X amount of dollars for your home inspection.
Absolutely.
You're going to need X amount of dollars for your earnest money. Earnest money is kind of like a down payment, saying you are committing to buying this house and you're going to do everything in your power to go through with it. So that might be anywhere from uh, getting through inspections, getting pre-approved, all those types of things, and being at the closing table, everything like that. So, making sure you have talk to your agent, find out what those upfront costs are going to be. So you're not surprised when we say, okay, now you need to cut a check for $325 to the home inspector. You're like, oh, well, I got to move some money around. That is, you know, and hey, moving money around, we'll get to that, but that's a huge no-no on from a lender side to a certain extent. So be caution to the wind there. So I think understanding what your costs are today, what that looks like, and what it's going to look like to get you to that closing table. Another tip and trick, as Brad's sitting here just drinking, be open.
Delicious Luke Commons coffee.
Be open-minded. So be open-minded about the search area and what you're looking for, and trust your agent that, as we're showing you houses, we're sitting there and making mental notes of, okay, they really like this, they really didn't like this. We may show you something, and I'm going to throw a little plug out there. It was out showing my in-laws bought a condo this past summer, and I knew that they both had two different visions in their head on what they wanted. And I said, hey, let's go look at this one over here. And they both fell in love with it. Like my father-in-law wanted the apartment style. My mother-in-law wanted something, not quite apartment style, kind of more personal on, townhouse style, maybe something like 4-unit. But so I found a really nice townhouse style one in Waterford, but it was not on their radar. Not even close to on their radar, but they fell in love with it, and it works out great for them.
Yeah, that's always a fine line. I remember in the past, and I told stories that there's been certain clients that'll send me properties, and having shown them other properties, really done a thorough consultation before we used to even start looking. They'll say, hey, I want to go see this one, and I'll see it's got like 3 or 4 they're like absolute will not, don't want type of features. And I'll mention them. It's like, hey, I'll remind you. And then, so then the question is, are we now open to this? And what's making you open to this? Just ask the question.
Yeah.
And some will say it could be different. Like, actually, the client I referenced this morning that sent me the notification, it's actually outside their area. She's trying to get, and him both are trying to get kind of equal drives to their work. This will keep her, she's got a 40-minute drive now. It's going to keep her 40 minutes. And that's why I was telling them, this is why I take your search out farther than you say.
Right.
Will you drive an extra 20 minutes if you find a house you absolutely love? Yes, she will.
Yep.
Those types of things. And then we are listing. I'm really listing the first several homes you go through. And if you're not verbalizing, I'll just ask you, what do you like about this? What do you not like about this?
Yeah.
What changes from what you've told me like could this home have an impact on? So I'm really trying to learn and listen about your likes so that when either I see stuff or you see stuff, I can be like, oh yeah, let's go see this, or no, I'm not going.
Let's talk about listening a little bit, because not only are we listening, and hopefully you guys are listening to us as the experts, but today technology, I saw a great meme the other day. It was 2 people standing outside, and the one guy's like, shh, don't say a word. The Ring doorbell's right there. There is cameras all over these houses nowadays. You don't want to walk in and be like, hey, Brad, we can go up to 325, but let's start at 300, because today's technology, the Echo can pick that up, the Alexa, whatever.
Echo, Alexa, the Ring doorbell.
Systems,
if they have cameras in the house, if they're not in the restroom, it's wrong with people. So if we're start talking about the house there, and I kind of can see Ring doorbells when we walk in, or if I'm you can use a C cameras. I haven't really had a situation with people with hidden cameras.
Right.
Obviously, I didn't know about it because they were hidden.
Yeah.
But if I notice things like that and they want to start talking about price and stuff, I said, let's just walk out by the cars well away from the building.
Yep. Yeah. Flat out,
good
tell you exactly why.
Good tip.
Yeah. So we usually don't talk. I try not to talk about negotiating strategies inside the house for that reason.
But to my previous point though, strategy stuff, let's make sure we don't have any ears on this. There's nothing wrong with saying likes and dislikes about 100%. The home. 100%. Not somebody's picture on the wall and the weird mustache that they have or something like that.
They dressed up like what?
That's an interesting outfit. I can't believe they put that in a photo that's gonna last forever.
Yeah. So,
That's just me.
so just a little caution in the wind while you're inside the house, right? And then negotiating. Trust us as your agents. A lot of times we're going to give you numbers based on comparables in the area, right? We're not going to just throw a number to the wind and say, "Hey, I think you should offer 350,000
Mhm.
for a house that is only worth 325." We're gonna kind of tell you what we think it's worth based on our experience, based on comparables out there.
Mhm.
Your agent should be, if you're not working with one of us, your agent should be going to that showing, unless you call us up at 9:30 this morning and say, "Hey, can we get in this house at 10 o'clock?" Of course I'm gonna try to get some comps for you, but I might be working on them while we're there. But trust that your agent is going to give you some comparables and say, "Hey, the house two doors down sold for this. The
Mhm.
house, block over sold for this." Trust that we're going to give you your comparables and we're going to, negotiate truly on your behalf.
Now I'll take one more point on the whole pricing and us checking comps and stuff like that and talking about that during the offer. One thing is this isn't happening as much as it was a few years ago when everything was going over ask.
Oh, right.
But you need to listen to us. Like I'll usually start by saying, I think this is priced appropriate, or I'll tell you, you know what, this could go over ask. And so there's still that degree where don't lock into the list price.
Yeah.
Because there's some I've walked in, I'm like, oh, this is gonna go over,
Yep.
and this is gonna go over by, and I'll usually guess. It's a guess. Sometimes I'm right on, sometimes I'm off. Because I'm not in the brain of every buyer out there that just look right on it. I don't think to me, there's not houses anymore that you should be, in my opinion, you should be offering 40, 50 grand over.
No.
5, 10, we're still seeing 15. I think I've even seen 20 over in some instances, especially again, the lower price points.
Lower price points that could be
But
cash offers.
listen to us, listen to your agent when we're saying ignore list price.
Yeah.
You just need to, okay, what's this thing worth?
Yeah. And I had a buyer consult a couple weeks ago now, I think 2 weeks ago, and they're working on finding the right property and all that good stuff. But they said, are we gonna get, X amount over our list price? And I said, we're kind of past that. We're not to that same level of getting, X amount over list price, especially if we price it accordingly, because the last 2 years has brought comparables up, right? So comparables that have sold have, drove that over list price up. And now we're at a market where we're listing homes at the right price. So I think there's a lot to be said about how you list your home, and so forth. So trust that the agent did their work. Now, if we walk in and say, "Holy cow, this thing is way underpriced," they may be trying to drive multiple offers. So, there's different ways we're going to walk in and see that. One last thing to tie up before we get into buyer, tips and tricks for buying is finally stay on top of your timelines. If we as an agent say, "Hey, we'll get your inspection set up," it's because we are going off the contract we wrote for you and that you signed off on. So if we say, "Hey, Mr. Buyer, we need to get earnest money over to, blah 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 title company by tomorrow."
That's a real title company, by the way. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
I just made that up.
I just like
Title.
like
We should start a title company. That should be our next project.
no.
Okay, a title company, and then we call it blah 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 title.
All right, something to think about.
But
I said no, but then I heard the potential title, all in the title of it.
right, blah blah blah
I just
title.
want a business named blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Seinfeld reference.
So so
Aging myself.
yeah, blah blah blah. But
Yada yada
we typically give you, if we say, "Hey, we need earnest money over to blah 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 title by tomorrow," a lot of times we're putting a buffer in there because we know people get busy, people screw things up, things like that. Also, a lot of times your deadlines are sometimes postmarked
Mhm.
enabled. So if we say, "Hey, get it in the mail by tomorrow," it just has to be postmarked, even though it doesn't have to be there tomorrow. It had to be postmarked by tomorrow. So don't miss certain deadlines because you could put your contract at risk. So hit your deadlines, trust that we're going to communicate with you. through a multitude of different avenues. But most importantly, we will communicate with you on how you would like us to. If you say, hey, Vince, just send me an email and I'll get to it. Or if you say, hey, I work all day, I'm really busy, but I kind of get text messages on my watch. If you need me to do something, just text me. So,
I'll put one other thing out there. So I've had clients that, so when we go through a contract, it's 10 pages. About every other page, and some of the pages that you actually, there are things marked and that you want to pay attention to. A lot of pages are definitions. I am not reading the entire contract to you. And there's a reason why, because I've already read it many, many times throughout my career. So I summarize stuff for you. So you can trust us because the first thing we have you sign that we go over, if you want to have us read every document, one document incomplete, it'd be your buyer agency agreement.
right.
That is the one that basically says we're acting on your behalf in your best interest. That's your financial best interest, health and well-being best interest, mental, whatever. It's just your best interest. So the rest of the documents, just trust us when we're summarizing. I'm happy to summarize. If you want to read it, I would say, hey, you want to read through it, go ahead. I always find it funny because I'm like, I tell people that too. This first document basically says, I'm working in your best interest.
Yeah. And I'm going to throw the last tip out there before we wrap up, because we're getting right at the 9:30 mark, is there are certain things we cannot.
Still got one thing to talk about too.
Yeah, we'll get to that. That's why I'm saving you 2 minutes.
Okay.
There are certain things we can and can't tell you. So we advise you to do your homework on area, location, sex offenders. We can't tell you if there's a sex offender in the area, but we could point you to the website on figuring it out. Schools, things like that. We can't tell you if the schools are great, but we can say, hey, here's where you can see the school report, right? So we can't discriminate based on, location, religion, race, ethnicity, age.
One of the questions we just get a lot is this a nice area?
Define nice.
Define nice.
Nice for who?
Your definition of nice and
mine are two different things. So
mine are two different things, let alone like a million other people.
Yeah, Brad lives in a nice area, but so do I. What
Yeah.
makes my area nicer than his?
I don't really know.
Exactly. All right. So that's our buyer's tips and tricks for this week. Brad's got one more thing to wrap up with, and I go for it, Brad.
Super Bowl.
Fudge. What a game, man.
That was a great game.
I was definitely disappointed. This tells you, like Super Bowl, I get into spending a little bit of money on these Super Bowl squares and pools and blah, blah, blah. And I had,
proud to say my wife did, but I did not.
One of the pools I'm in, the numbers change for each quarter. So you have four numbers, and they change each quarter. But my wife and I were sitting there. We really needed San Francisco to score a touchdown at the end of the game, and then KC to get stopped. Instead, they kick a field goal and then go down and score a touchdown. It cost us, all in probably about $1,000 in different things. Just the way the numbers would have fallen across the board, we would have made out pretty well.
Yeah, so the game was amazing. For not having, I didn't really care which team. I think, I was really like 50-50. We had some friends over. They were rooting for San Francisco. My wife was rooting for Kansas City. I just enjoyed it. I just wanted a good game. I don't think you could ask for much more. You had defense in the first half. You had offense in the second half. It was just really, 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 really good event overall, or game. And of course, the commercials.
Yeah.
So it was probably a decade or so ago is when this whole thing kicked off about the commercials. It's kind of passed by a little bit, but the Super Bowl, you always get some really, really funny commercials. I think it's the only time of year anybody watches commercials for the most part, because I watch a lot of recorded stuff. Or that's when you take your bathroom breaks or whatever, but people stick around for a lot of commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Commercials, I don't know who you are if you don't think the Dunkin' Donuts one with Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Jennifer Lopez, and Tom Brady was just bar none the best one.
Yes.
And I don't know who gives them, but if there's an Emmy, if it's an Emmy or whatever it is, Matt Damon, to me, 3 lines in the commercial, stole the show. I'll give Tom Brady a little bit of a second or third because his lines are actually pretty funny too. But he had to, like, I don't want to spoil it for just.
Go ahead and Google it out there, guys.
I went ahead and Googled it, and it's already on.
Oh, yeah.
It's already on Google, so you can watch it. But his line of I'm so sorry. You have to read you have to watch it and see the context of the commercial, but and then his last line, which I'm not going to say because it's just beautiful. It basically saw somebody who says Ben Affleck tested the boundaries of a best friend.
Yes, yeah. Just imagine Tom Brady, Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon as a boy band.
As a boy band.
As a boy band. So
Freaking
it
hilarious.
was.
It was just hands down like I can't even remember any of the commercials after that or before that because
Right.
that one was hilarious. And the last thing, halftime show.
Man, for those that are a little bit older, I thought it was pretty darn good. I couldn't quite hear Usher at the very beginning. Well, he was, until they brought out others and they're actually on a physical mic versus the one that comes off his, off his ear.
Comments in my house and in the room were started slow and then just ended really awesome.
Oh yeah,
which I
yep,
think that's a lot of them do.
yep,
There's very few that just boom hit you from start to
right.
finish. I think some that stick out like Lady Gaga's to me was a really awesome one and all whoever else is with her and there's been some pretty amazing ones throughout time. I thought it was pretty good.
I love the fact that they are, probably over the last few years to bring on other performers to perform with them, and it all ties together so well. Like, I mean, it was last night. It was pretty darn good.
One of my favorites was I think it wasn't last year was Rihanna. I think it was the year before. Was like Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop, like all these rappers from like basically just blew up in the 90s and stuff like
Yeah.
that. To me, that was like to me
Was that last year? Or was it 2 years ago? I don't know. Either way.
2 years. Last year was Rihanna, and that's when she showed her pregnant belly. That was the whole like some people thought that was I thought it was awful, but whatever.
Yeah.
She had some good collaboration. They all have like good collaboration artists and groups that come in that they don't announce, so it's always kind of cool. And they normally tie in really well.
Yeah.
Rihanna's I remember did tie in really well. I mean that it was Dr. Dre was the headliner 2 years ago, but you just knew you're gonna get.
Oh yeah, that was when they were on the bus, right? Was it like they're on some type of big?
There was a bus. There was a lot of different settings.
Stages, yeah.
Stages they did in that one.
Yeah. So here's a fun fact we'll end with real quick. But Usher's show, yes, last night. Typically a halftime show is 13 minutes long. He actually bought 15 minutes of a time slot. So I guess he paid the difference to get it up to a 15-minute time slot or negotiated, and then brought extra crew in because that time slot is all relevant to how fast they can get the stage set up and broken down. So I thought that was pretty interesting that he wanted an extra 2 minutes. So kudos to him for getting that, working that in his deal.
And then last thing, and then we'll sign off here. I always like the national anthem has been done different ways. I didn't see any ratings on this, but I mean, Reba did a great job.
Yeah.
Reba's just classic country artist. She did it impeccable. To me, though, and there was a post from Taylor Wishaw this morning. His was the Chris Stapleton one. Chris Stapleton for me is number two. That rendition of the Star Spangled Banner was amazing, but no one ever tops Whitney Houston. I'm sorry. that voice, she is to me is the voice. So
yeah.
So
anyways,
try and beat that Reba. No, all right, we're out of here.
Have a great week, everyone. I'm Vince Devall with Eagle Homes, powered by Caldwell Banker.
And I'm Brad Brewer. I'm with All Those Things, and our team wishes you a great and wonderful week.